Alright, bringing you more. I've been still working on this Hendey lathe there most of this Saturday here. And I left off, now I want to show you a little bit about what I got more assembled. So, let's see. I showed you the apron on. I put the saddle on, right? Let's see here. So you saw the apron, and I talked way too much about my cool handles that I really like. I got the saddle put on. One note, all these Allen screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, went in fine. This one was, it was undercut, and the hole is misaligned, by maybe 20 thousandths or something in the saddle here. So you gotta put this one in first, drop it down. I thought of filing it out, but it works. Got the cross slide on, got the cross slide screw in. That's the attachment for the bronze nut, and oil goes in there, so that's cool. This is a little cover plate, so there's a gear in there, and that kind of covers the gear. Got the, let's see, got the gib in, right? And the gib screws are slotted, they're 1032. I forgot, I made Allen head set screws for the compound slide. I could still do that for these, but I just took them out, cleaned them, oiled them, and put them back in. I guess I can paint this later. It's down to primer, factory red oxide primer, red lead primer. This thing, well, this is the original handle. And being that it's steel and everybody's salt from their hands gets on it, it rusted completely. It rusted deep, pitted. What I did is I rarely use muriatic acid, and I think I dipped this in muriatic acid. God, like I said, it was 15 years ago. And ate this thing down to where it was white metal. And then I neutralized it in baking soda. I think vinegar first, then baking soda, and then clean water. And then I painted it with red oxide primer. So I've had this, it hasn't rusted in 15 years, so I killed the rust. And it set screws on there. The original, this is not the original Hendey handle. The original Hendey handle was on there with a taper pin, because if you look, there's a taper pin in this piece here, the lead screw. But I put this back on because I kind of like it. I might go over with Scotch-Brite and clean it down to bright metal and just have the red oxide primer fill in the rust spots. I don't know. It's functional. I kind of like it. Okay, what's all this kabook about here? So this, it's hard to explain. The taper attachment is not on, but bearings, thrust bearings, that's a 3/8 shaft. Thrust bearings go on there, and then there's like a little sled that gets controlled by the taper attachment. So all the thrust from the feed screw here is taken up by 2 thrust bearings and on the sled. So to immobilize the sled, I think maybe I showed you, there's a pin that was stuck in here. So there's a 3/8 threaded, it's threaded about 1 inch deep, and then there's a 5/16 hole for a pin, and that pin just pushes on the sled and locks it out. So when you're not using the taper attachment, you tighten the screw, pushes the pin, pinches the sled with the bearings on it, and that becomes immobilized. So that's your 4 1/2 thrust for the cross feed screw, which is, you can kind of see it down in there. So anyways, That's a dog point 1032 set screw that captures the shield. So you got to lock that out. So really what this does, this locks out, let me move that. Oh, it's stiff. I put the heavy grease on here. So if you, let me zoom out. So watch, if I pull this, the whole shooting match goes in and out, right? The whole cross slide moves in and out. So when you loosen the taper attachment and energize, allow the taper attachment to control the that bearing block, this handle telescopes in and out, right? So like I said, let me back this camera up. If you move this in and out, watch the handle. See how everything shoots in and out? That's how it operates if the taper attachment is in control of the thrust bearings. But if you lock it out, then this kind of, if you lock this out and the thrust bearings are solid, right? Let me push this back a little bit. Then, see, there's no bearings in here. This is just the dial. So what you got to do is tighten that, just to take the wiggle out of it. So I'm going to finger tighten this, right? So now what you can do is you loosen this, and you have control of the graduated collar. Lock that, and boom, 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 tightened. So this little plastic headed 1032 screw, I had this in my pile of stuff, and it kind of tightens up nice. Can you see I re-scratched the zero line, because when I acid etched all this stuff, the zero line went away. Hard to see. Oh, there you got a good. I re-etched my zero line, so you can kind of see that. It's not super visible, but I clamped it in a vise, and I used a very sharp carbide scriber, and I went over it like 50 times to deepen it. It was just a shadow. I couldn't even see it at all. So that's what the numbers look like, right? Whatever, close enough, lock it down. Okay, so that locks that down. So now it turns da-da-da-da. So what's this thing for? Well, notice how it's not in all the way. If I put this in all the way, all right, so that's in all the way. Now watch what happens. That's in all the way. It stops, right? It stops at whatever o'clock that is. It goes around, stops slightly less than whatever o'clock that was. That's your in-out for your threading. So when you tighten, you're going to in-feed your compound at 30 degrees or 29.5, or you don't even, it doesn't matter. You take a pass, let's see, you take a pass, wind it out, shuffle that lever back, the carriage goes back to the start of the thread, crank it in, increase your increment of how deep you want to cut, hit the lever, take a threading pass, get to the end, pull it out, retract the threading and run it back to the starting point. Set your in-feed, set this back to 0, and make another pass. So that's what this does. The Pratt & Whitney has a similar deal, except it goes 2.5 turns. This only goes, I think it's like, I don't know, 340 degrees. But that's what this screw is for. It's for the thread, the single, what's it called? Just, I need a set screw knurled nut or something for this. I know you just take it out that much and that's all you need. Okay, so now it's fully roundabout. So that's what these do. I could get some 1032 brass knurled nuts, thumb screws from McMaster Car. I could put one there, and one there. I don't know. I don't mind this for the thread. Sorry, for the dial. I don't mind that for that. I don't mind having to use an Allen wrench to tighten this when I'm done with the taper attachment. I don't mind. Yeah, you just screw this in by hand. Maybe I'll buy the knurled thumb screws from McMaster. I don't know. For now, this has gotten me going, right? So that's rock and roll. So that's it for now. 3/8 inner diameter needle bearing thrust washers. I got one, not thrust washers, thrust bearings. I got one. I need two. I'm just gonna place an order to McMaster Car. But anyways, super cool. The handle was completely broken when I took delivery of the lathe. It's a 5/8 shaft with a 1/8 inch key. I want to look upstairs in my handle stuff. That's going to be fun. Maybe I should just paint this silver or gray or something. Maybe I'll paint it. Maybe I'll take it off, wash it with lacquer thinner, and paint it machine tool gray. Real heavy. That would be kind of cool because it looks stupid being red oxide. Well, maybe not, because you know, this is red oxide on the carriage wings. It's got some red oxide coming through the steady, which I found on eBay. Didn't have a description and I knew what it was, so I bought it. Bam, I think that was like 120 bucks. Okay. And this is a Fruita chuck. I bought that brand new on eBay. I think I paid 90 bucks for it, or 85 bucks. Brand new D1 4 mount. Sweet. So that's, and I screwed my little knobby knob on that. So today, super happy getting all that done. Yeah, it does look dorky. I don't know. One of the T-bolts for the compound is stretched and one is fine. I'm gonna make two new ones out of 4140. You know. So anyhow, I'm gonna call it a night. I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna relax, eat something. Tomorrow I might play with this and try to find a hand wheel and make it fit. And I don't have any key broaches. I should invest in some sometime. Anyhow, till next time, Doozer Shop.